93% of children under the age of 18 who have been sexually abused know who their attacker is. This is according to RAINN.org. Today I will be talking about child sexual abuse and its effects. The importance of this topic is to inform my audience of the harmful effects of child abuse. We are going to discuss identifying sexual abuse signs, the long-term effects of child abuse, and the coping methods victims use. 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 20 boys is a victim of child sexual abuse. First, let's look at identifying signs that a child has been sexually abused. In most child rape incidents, a child will not come forward to a guardian or parent about the abuse due to the child being threatened in some sort of terrifying way. I think predators use this method because children are easily manipulated and frightened. Since a child actually going to a parent about a sexual abuse like this is a very small chance, let's look at some signs that a child has been sexually abused that can be easily identified by somebody who knows the child very well, like a parent, teacher, or babysitter. According to RapeCrisisLondon.com, a child might begin to show sexually explicit behavior or use sexual language that is inappropriate for the child's age. The child might also bring up a question or the subject of child sexual abuse just to see another guardian or parent's reaction. You might also start noticing a drop in the performance at school, or out of the blue the child might refuse to go to school. Bedwetting and aggressive behavior are also can be signs that the child has been sexually abused. While these signs are certainly not the only ones, these are some major ones, and as mentioned before, it is very possible for an adult who knows a child very well to identify it. Next, let's talk about the long-term effects that come with child rape. According to Medscape.com, children who are victims of child sexual abuse may suffer from gastrointestinal health, and they also predicted that child sexual abuse victims may suffer from musculoskeletal pain, like headaches, muscle aches, and backaches. Some effects on the emotional side, according to ASCA.com, are depression, eating disorders, alcohol abuse, aggressive behavior, poor self-esteem, self-harming behaviors, suicide attempts, and personality disorders. Long-term effects of child sexual abuse are similar to combat PTSD. These are only some of the many emotional effects that child sexual abuse can cause in the long run. The harmful effects of child abuse do not end when the abuse ends. And not only can it be physically harmful, but emotionally as well. Finally, we'll talk about coping methods used by child abuse victims. According to RAINN.org, the victim will probably never come forward about a sexual abuse while it is happening. The article also states that the victim may even forget that the abuse happened as the years go by. And when something finally triggers the memory, the victim can barely remember what happened. Some coping mechanisms used by victims are, number 1, minimizing. The victim starts to think that the attack wasn't that bad. Denying. The victim pushes the memory away and denies it happened or pretends it had no impact on them. Control. The victim feels a need to control anything and everything in their life. Super alertness. The victim tries to avoid any surprises. Busyness. The victim stays busy, whether it's at work, school, hobbies, extracurricular activities, anything that will keep their mind off of the memories, off of the past. And finally, isolation. The victim believes if no one is around, no one can hurt them. Child rape victims use coping mechanisms to help them to move on and live a normal life. Sexual child abuse is a serious matter that cannot be ignored. The memories of the attack can paralyze a victim. The child is forced to keep a secret because their life or someone else's life they love is threatened. The child goes through noticeable changes, usually always negative. The attacker makes a child believe the attack was a child's fault. The child is forced to live with that guilt for a really long time. The sad part is when a victim comes clean to someone they trust about the abuse and that person ignores them or denies the abuse happened, especially if the attacker is someone they both know. A child, for the most part, will never lie about a sexual abuse. It is important to know the signs and recognize them before it is too late. As mentioned before, sexual abuse can be closer than you think. Sometimes when I'm in public, I think about kids who at this moment are going through child sexual abuse. And I wonder what their cries are like. And I think to myself, if it were me, I'd want somebody to help me and save me.